Guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe, and I was just driving home thinking, and one of the things that crossed my mind, because I had saw a demo today for Final Fantasy 15 on Xbox One and PS4, is that Nintendo and Final Fantasy, or at least that series, sort of remind me of one another. And you may be asking, well, what's the correlation? And it may just be in my eyes, you may think I'm nuts, but hear me out for a moment. So Nintendo's always been a classic company, They initially were the big guy and the big dog. Now they've become pretty much last place in the, I guess, big three. They, sorry about that. They tend to use underpowered hardware. They tend to use old-fashioned ways and methodology. They tend to go strong first-party, but not have a lot of third-party support because people don't want to really either A, follow their rules, or feel that the technology is now older compared to what the Xbox or PlayStation is doing. So that's on Nintendo's front. Squaresoft, or Square-Enix, who does the Final Fantasy series, feels like, to me, they are in a similar boat with how they develop their games. And the reason I say that is because it feels like Final Fantasy's stale. I feel like 6 was my favorite by far, which was 3 in, was it 3 here and 6 in Japan, or 6 here and 3 in Japan? I always forget which is which. I think it was 6 there and 3 here. Anyway, it was on the Super Nintendo. And then 7 was their biggest one that everyone remembers fondly, which I personally believe was good, but 6 was better, in my opinion. So anyhow, I feel like a lot of people over the years have gotten burnt out on JRPGs, or Japanese RPGs, so much so that you're seeing the Western role-playing games really take a leg up in terms of like Elder Scrolls. I really enjoyed Wasteland. The Witcher is not really a Western RPG because that's made from a group in Poland, but it's just not. It's not a JRPG either. It leans more towards the Western role-playing game formulas, if you will. You have Dragon Age Inquisition, which is done by EA. That's a pretty big one, or the Dragon Age series, I should say. It just seems like a lot of the Japanese, tried and true methods for role-playing games aren't as popular as they used to be. I know you'll still find things that get popular, like Persona was really good. I really liked Persona Golden. I thought, for me, in the past decade, that was the pinnacle of JRPGs. That really brought me back to going, wow, they can still really pull off a really great role-playing game. But it still had that weird quirkiness to it that some role players, or role-playing game players, would not enjoy, because it has that weird effeminate side to it, the quirky humor, where most of the time the Western audience is different, or the Western genre is different. Anyway, what I was getting at was Nintendo's got this old formula, and when the GameCube came out and Xbox was going online and doing really well, and PS2 was starting to get their feet wet with the broadband adapter and everything else, Nintendo came flat out and said, online isn't the next big thing. We're not really doing it. We're going to do it a little bit with Phantasy Star and another game or two, but we're really not going to embrace it. Now they are embracing it. They never really embraced it a great deal on the Wii. At least they did, but they didn't. It was weird. It's like they put one foot in, but not both feet. They did this stupid, instead of having usernames, they were doing what do they call them? Codes, something codes, not me codes or whatever. So you'd have to find the person's code out to add them. It was like this stupid system, and they never fully embraced it. And whether they will now or have with the Wii U, I don't know. I mean, what do they do with the NX? But it just feels like two big Japanese powerhouses, Nintendo and Square, that just aren't coming into the next generation. I mean, what I've seen with Final Fantasy 15, and I haven't played the demo yet, but I have downloaded it on my Xbox, it just looks like a quirky Japanese RPG with like these teen idols driving around in a car, which was kind of weird, fighting like monsters and dragons and shit. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you like Japanese RPGs, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it feels the way Nintendo's a couple steps behind, like Squaresoft with their Final Fantasy series, has never fully pushed forward. I even watched a couple reviews yesterday on Final Fantasy Type 0 HD, which was a HD port of the PSP Final Fantasy Type 0. And it looked kind of interesting, but it just looked so, like, generic to me. And I thought to myself, why would I play something like this if there's so many cool Western RPGs that are really, you know, kind of changing the game or at least doing things different? I don't know. Maybe this is just me. Maybe I'm completely wrong and you guys think I'm nuts. Maybe you agree. But what do you guys think about the correlation between Japanese role-playing games and Squaresoft? Excuse me, Japanese role-playing games and Squaresoft and Nintendo just not really coming into the future or not really changing their game plan too much. Even recently, Reggie from Nintendo, Reggie Fils-Aimé, is it? They said to him, well, what do you think about Xbox and Sony doing the Neo and the Scorpio? You know, Scorpio. And he said, oh, well, here at Nintendo, we're really not about teraflops and power or whatever. We're about first party and games and fun. And I get it. And yes, that's what it boils down to. But if you're not being competitive or you're not changing up your scheme or your you know, your shtick, if you will, how do you expect to move forward? If you're just going to stand still and say, nope, this is the way it is, this is how it is, if you don't like it, too bad, fuck you. In a business like this that just constantly changing, I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave some comments, do a video response if you feel it's necessary. Thanks, guys, for watching. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Be good.